everyone, are you ready for a great edition of Garden Gab? We are going to be answering questions from the previous videos and just going around the garden and gabbing in the garden. So if you want answers to some of those questions, and you'll learn some things along the way and you'll get some beautiful backdrop pictures, come along today for our August edition of Garden Gab. Come on! We have been working hard in the garden this year, on and off, buttoning up a lot of different projects around the house. We still have some landscaping left to go, and I have some plans for what we're going to do underneath the big red maple tree and along the line of arborvitaes in the backyard, so stay tuned for that. I'll show you that area before the end of the video. We are also going to be answering questions from your videos. We're going to move around the garden as we do this so you can kind of get some little vignettes. Here's a garden that we put in earlier this year. It was the first one that we worked on. I am so pleased with how well this thing looks. Yeah, I am so glad that I did this garden. It is one of my favorite spots to walk through right now in the garden. It's just filling in so beautifully. So we actually have 2 garden gabs that we do. And if you're new here, welcome. I hope you enjoyed today's video. We're just going to gab in the garden, answer questions from previous videos. So if you ever watch a video and you have a question, just leave it down below. I can't answer all of the questions, but I kind of go through the rhythm of just the different ones that are asked and try to answer as many as I can. Now, if you like our videos, please subscribe, because that just helps our channel grow and it allows us to continue to make great content. So back to Garden Gab. So the first Garden Gab that we do in the month is this kind of a format. We go around the garden and we gab and we answer questions. The second Garden Gab that we do is all about you as a gardener. And what we do is we talk about your garden, and viewers send in pictures of their garden. We have gotten some absolutely fantastic, gorgeous pictures from viewers, and they are inspiring, and there's been ideas that I want to steal and little vignettes of things that they do, or plants that I want to try, or just plant envy because I can't try it and it's beautiful to look at. So that Garden Gab is the last Saturday of the month, and we don't do it all year long. We just do it during the growing season. But if you want in on the action of that, take a picture of one thing in your garden that you're proud of. It can be a backed up view, a close-up view, a container, which is kind of what we're looking for in August, but you can send whatever you want. Everybody's got something beautiful in their garden, and everybody works hard in their garden. So let's share that inspiration together. So you take that picture in a landscape format, which means you turn your camera the long ways. Don't take it straight up and down like this, because what happens is the picture gets blurry and it doesn't fit on the format of YouTube. Send those pictures in. You're going to send them to this email address right here. And if you miss the email address, it's always in the description, and that way you can find it there. I need to know who you are, where you live, what we're looking at, and what zone it is. Oh, and what country you live in too, because we're starting to get pictures from outside the United States, and that's always super cool to see what we're growing in other countries. So send those in, and then we share those during Garden Gab, which is the last Saturday of the month. I'm thinking we'll probably be doing this one in August and probably another one in September, so send those in. Very quickly, I want to take you through the passageway garden as we're on our way to the next garden. I worked hard on this garden, and this is exactly what I was thinking it was going to look like. Well, not exactly, but it's pretty darn close. See how everything weaves in and out, and all of those plantings on either side of the rock softened that line so it's not a straight line through the garden. And even though we put a straight line of rocks, look at how that path just kind of weaves in and out. I am in love with this garden. And I'm also in love with Bidens. I didn't know that I was going to love Bidens until I planted Bidens. I've never put them in the ground before, and oh my gosh, I will plant these now forever. I love them, and I love them with the alyssum, and I almost like them better than the petunias in the ground. But I am so pleased with how this garden is looking and how it's turning out. It is what I envisioned. Oh, I love it. Just a backed up view looking the other way. Have to hurry and get this before the sun comes completely up and then it's all glared out. Oh, isn't it great? I love it. Look at those castor beans in there. Oh, fabulous. One of the things people wanted to see that I saw a lot after I made the hypertufa pots was they wanted to see the moss growing. Now, it's only been 2 weeks since I did that, and it can take 30 to 60 days for that moss to really get going on your pots, and you might have to reapply it in a couple places. I found that where I put the moss really thick, that's where it's starting to grow, and where I just did it thin, well, I just made my pot dirty, and I'll brush that off, and it'll still give my pot some character. But you can see here where I kind of globbed it on, that's where I'm starting to see the most, the most growth of the moss. Can you see it? I don't know. There's a little bitty bit in there starting to grow, but it does take time for that, and you do have to mist it. If you're not keeping it wet, it's not going to grow. So if you think about where moss grows in your lawn, well, it grows on the north side of your house where it doesn't dry. Usually that's where you're going to see it, right? So this has to be moist too. So I don't know if I'm not misting it enough. I'm going to try to like up my game on misting it, but yeah, keeping it moist all the time is a little bit harder for me. Now, one of the things I thought I might do though with one of the pots, I'm going to try this. I'm actually going to make another paste and reapply it, and then I'm going to stick it in a plastic bag, mist it, because it'll stay more moist in that plastic bag. And I'm hoping to like speed up the process of that moss growing. And I have a feeling that if I just keep it dry or I miss a day, any moss that starts to grow, I'm going to end up losing it. So I'm going to try that, and then I'll give you an update on what happens with that. So I'm having limited success with this, and I'm afraid that if I miss, any spraying of water on this, it's going to be done. So yeah, let's try to mimic what's going on in nature on the pot. So let's gab a little bit before we get going into the questions. I have a couple things that I kind of want you guys to weigh in on before I do them. I'm always hesitant to jump into new things because I want to make sure that, one, I can follow through and do it. My example would be last year I had this great idea to do a vegetable series. I was going to do it live all season long. I was going to start from planting all the way to harvest, and in between we were going to learn about gardening and what to do with it. I made it 7 weeks. And then life got so busy, the garden center got so busy that I had to abandon it. And I kind of went back and watched a few of those episodes because I'm getting ready to launch a new area, and we're prepping it this year for next year. And the whole premise of this area is a marrying of vegetables and flowers together to create an ecosystem that's self-sustainable, so I don't ever have to use pesticides. And if I do get problems, or I get bugs, or I get issues, my garden is solving its own problem. And that's the premise that we're going to take with this new garden area that we're creating. And so I think I might take that little section that we're doing as a one-off that won't be part of the regular videos that I'm doing on Tuesday and Thursday. And I'm not going to commit to it's going to be Monday. I think I'm going to do it where it's like they're going to be when I can get them in, but make sure that we are, following the journey of that garden area. Because some of you watch my videos for entertainment. Some of you watch my videos to learn things. Some of you watch my videos for ideas. And that is really what my channel is all about. Not all of you follow me because I talk about vegetables, herbs, and flowers that I'm going to grow together, but there might be an audience for that. And it's going to be this little journey that I'm going to be doing. It's going to become part of the rhythm of what I do. And so I'm going to include it in my channel. So I guess that's not something I need you to weigh in on. That's something that's coming. But what I do need you to weigh on is an idea that I have. I recently did a video on making hypertufa pots and concrete mushrooms. It was very well received. I have a lot of views on it, and you guys all weighed in and said you'd like to see more DIYs. Now, I'm not going to turn into a DIY channel. DIY videos are a little time consuming to line everything up and do, but they are a lot of fun. And I do have a lot of ideas, and I do DIYs, and I usually don't film a lot of them. I just don't know if you guys want to see that. So here's my idea, and you guys can decide down below if you think you would want to do something like this. So my idea is that we would do a DIY together, but you could buy the kit from me so that you're really doing it together with me, and you don't have to run out and find all the stuff to put it together. We would start with probably shadow box art, and we would start with dried flowers, creating a really pretty scene inside of a shadow box, and we would send you everything: the shadow box, the dried flowers, the Mod Podge, the brushes, whatever it is that you need to put this kit together. we would keep the price around probably $50 to $65. I think 50 would probably be more realistic, plus shipping. Now, I would only be able to ship within the continental United States because shipping out of the country, I don't know how to do that without it being so stupid expensive that for you and me both, it's just kind of out of my reach right now. But that's kind of my thought process. So we would have like a pre-order period. You would call the store and order them. I mean, I know some of you might be going, we would call the store, how would we pay? Well, you would pay with your credit card over the phone, but we are a business that's been in business for a long time. You can check us out. We are a real live brick and mortar store, and people order over the phone from us all the time to order bulk mulch, to order flowers, to order trees that we deliver. You can check that out to make sure that we're legit. I mean, I would never do anything I think that would harm somebody else. We don't store credit card numbers. The girls would take that, run it right there over the phone, and then we would ship out your kit. So we would do that over maybe a 30-day period. And let's say that we kicked it off, I don't know, in 2 weeks. Then I order all the supplies in for what actually sold, and then we have a deadline date and we ship it out and we have a date. This is the video. And I just recently did this at my church, and we had 150 women come to this craft, and that's what makes me think of doing this one, because they loved it, or at least they said they loved it. And what I thought was absolutely cool, there was not one cookie cutter anything about any shadow box that was made. We did a Bible verse and put it, you know, as our backdrop, and we would probably just do a gardening verse, and then we arranged the dried flowers all over the shadow box frame, cardboard cutouts, and then they Mod Podged them in place, and they were all different, and they were so beautiful. And I heard people talking about how they were addicted. They wanted to do another one. They wanted to do it with their kids. They wanted to do it with their ladies group. So I just thought it was a really fun craft. It was very well received, and I thought you guys might think that that was fun to do together. So let me know if you even remotely like that idea. Weigh in down below. Is it something that you would purchase and want to do? And if it's not, that's okay. I have lots of ideas. Some of them are great and some of them are like, what? So yeah, just weigh in on that. The other thing I want to talk about before we move on to questions, and yeah, this is kind of the Garden Gab, is where I like to talk about announcements and things that are coming or things that you can do, because it is a good time to do it. I think Garden Gab, probably my viewers on here are more of my regulars than it is just somebody jumping in and watching. I'm sure I have that on this channel, but I think it's really kind of that community that we've built over the last 2.5 years. And some of you have been following me since the beginning. Some of you might be brand new, but this is where we kind of talk about those things. So last year, one of the questions I asked towards the end of the year was if you guys wanted a newsletter. And did you know there is a newsletter? So if that is something that you would like, and it's totally free, you just reach out right here to our website. On the website, there's a sign up button, and you fill your information in, and then once a month, you'll get our newsletter. Now, you will also get news about what's going on at the garden center. And if you don't want that news at the garden center, you just want the newsletter, just put that in the notes. And my girl who works for me in the office, Courtney, she will categorize those into specific groups so that you only get what it is that you want. We do not farm these out. We do not sell these. These are ours. We only use them for the purpose that we're talking about. So don't ever worry about that, because I would never do that, because I would never want someone to do that to me. Isn't this a great little container? For a hodgepodge, just grabbed what was ever left in the garden center and put together a pot. This one turned out pretty good. All right, I have one more announcement, and this will be it, and then we'll get into questions. We have an event coming up on Wednesday night, August 27th at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will be doing a live Facebook sale out of the garden center. It's going to be about an hour long. We will only be shipping in the continental United States, and we are only shipping like small things. We're not going to ship large things. So when we are doing the sale, if we have an item that we are selling in the sale and it's too big to ship, we will say this is for pickup only. So we are doing the sale, one, to move out the rest of our inventory. Two, we're trying it to see if people like that, because they can have the product that they buy delivered to their house, or they can come and pick it up. And if you guys like it, you want to check it out, you can join us as well. So I just thought I'd put that out there. It's not necessarily a YouTube thing, but we're doing it, so we thought we'd let you know, and hopefully we'll see you there. Don't forget, Wednesday night, August 27th, 6 p.m., mark your calendars. Central Standard Time, and it'll be about an hour long. Another pot that looks absolutely stunning is this one. Oh my goodness, I love this pot. Now, one of the questions that I get asked is, how do I get my pot to grow this big? Well, we water once a week with a water-soluble fertilizer. You can use the one from Proven Winners. I think Coat has one. Miracle Grow has one. But the trick is to feed it. That is what is going to make it look big and glorious. The other question I get asked is, when I fertilize my garden beds, do I just do it in the spring? Well, yes, I do a fertilizer application in the spring, and then I do it again midsummer. So I am feeding my beds twice. I think that first application gets everything going, but they use all that food up, and then they need to be fed again. So usually around the 4th of July, I feed my beds a second time. I know, this is not a beautiful part of my garden, but one of the questions that I've been getting asked is, hey Michelle, will you do a garden underneath a maple tree? And yes, we've been planting underneath the maple tree on the other end of the garden, but we want to do a new planting, and that's what they want to see, how to plant underneath a maple when there's nothing there but roots. And that's what I've got right here. We are going to be doing a garden here this fall, going up the slope, around the maple tree, and then along the arborvitaes. In the spring, we did a garden to create a secret nook. Yeah, we're putting that in too. And what we're changing about the little nook is we're putting a swing in instead of a bench. I got my hands on a swing. I'm pretty excited. Yeah. And then we're going to be able to sit back here in the evening. It's nice and cool back here. The temperature is probably 15 to 20 degrees lower than it is in the sun. And this is a great place to put a swing and some beautiful landscaping, because man, that is ugly. I did a lot of garden tours in the month of July. We started off with the 6 gardens in the Rockford Garden Tour at the beginning of the month. That is put on by the Rockford Council of Gardeners. Every year they do it. They do such a fabulous job. They pick all the right gardens. Loved that tour. If you didn't see it, I would check it out. We also did a 4-part series in my own garden where we talked about 4 different areas of the garden, did a deeper dive, broke it down, and looked a little bit closer in the garden. We did 2 home tours at Donna and Deborah's house. Those were so awesome. The gardens were so different, but I loved so many things about both of those gardens. But I did get a few questions. Now, usually garden tours don't generate a lot of questions, just a lot of really positive comments. And I'm glad that these tours inspire you and that you love them. One of the questions that we got, though, was about this sidewalk bed. And it was, what direction does this bed face? And how much sun is it getting? Now, you can see right now, there's sun on my face, right? It is 7 o'clock in the morning and the sun is over there. That's where it rises. And there's a big maple tree right here. You will see the sun through the canopy of the trees along this sidewalk the whole entire day. So it is getting sun peeking in and out, or dappled light, all day long, from 7 a.m. until the sun goes behind the arborvitaes on the west side of the yard. So it's never in direct sun. It's never in full shade. It comes in and out of shade all day long, which, oh my gosh, those conditions are so perfect for part shade plants, because I have plants that can take 2 to 4 hours of sun, and I have plants that need 4 to 6 hours, and they all thrive over here and do really well. This is absolutely one of my favorite beds. We use annuals to create color. I mean, look at this. Isn't this gorgeous? It is a very simple bed. I don't add a lot to it. I keep it pretty basic, pretty simple, pretty low maintenance, and use the annuals to create my flower power. But there you go. South bed, lots of maple trees creating dappled shade. So let me give you a view of what those maples look like. In the bed, and I'm sorry about the sun glare, but that's what I have to do to show you the shot. So see, now I'm on the sidewalk. See how the trees create that canopy all the way down? They're almost over the top of the sidewalk, but not quite. I don't want them on the house, so I do keep them pruned off the house, but that just creates the best light for me. I love it. One of my favorite garden views, I love getting out of my car and walking up the driveway to the covered porch, and this is the view that I see as I'm going to the front door. Love this view. All right, we did a video over at Tracy's house where we created a design for a secret garden. But before we had the opportunity to do the design, we had to clear all the weeds, and it was a hot mess. But most of the weed was this really invasive, toxic, noxious weed, and everybody wanted to know what it was. Honestly, I don't know which variety of weed it was. It's some sort of grapevine weed, and they grow like mad. They grow super fast. I battle them at the garden center. I have some growing over there that I've got to get pulled out and taken care of, but they are fast. Oh my gosh, they're fast, fast, fast. And yes, one of you said, aren't you worried about them coming back over the fence? And yes, we are. So on the telephone pole, that is public domain, and I can spray the weed on the telephone pole. The neighbor, we spoke with him, and he is going to allow us to go on his side of the fence and spray the weed on his side of the fence as well, because it's to his benefit to get rid of it. And then the back side of the fence, there's another neighbor there, and we spoke with them, and they are also going to let us spray their side of the fence. So our goal is that we're going to eradicate it in 3 different homes so that it's gone forever. And we are going to be using a organic spray at the highest concentrate. So it's been, well, it hasn't been quite 12 days since we did that. So we'll be going over there in a couple days to kind of see what the weed situation is. I'll get that all filmed. It'll be part of the video when we actually do the installation. So you will see all of that. And outside of that, that was really the only question that was generated in that video, was just what was that weed? And yeah, it's some kind of grapevine weed. And oh, it's horrible when you get it. And it's fast. Oh, it grows so fast. We are now in my front garden, and you can see that the plain and the blue salvia is doing absolutely fabulous. I love it next to my limelight hydrangeas. This garden here, even though the petunias have been disappointing this year, I'm loving everything else about it. I like the sedum that we put in. I love the euphorbia that we put in right here. Absolutely gorgeous. I hope it makes it through the winter. But one of the questions that we got was about the hypertufa pots that we made and the mushrooms. So one of the questions was, can I use the hypertufa to make the mushrooms as well? And yes, you can. And the second question was, can I use core in like the peat core, not peat, it's like a coconut core. Can I use that instead of peat moss? And absolutely. Let's say you have some old core. You just need to shred it up really good because you want to be able to mix that through as a fiber to give you the texture. Or they sell those blocks as seed starting material, or they sell it to plant succulents in, and it comes like in a block, and then you get it wet and it expands. If you're going to use a product like that, I would definitely make sure I get it wet and expand it first before you mix it in, so that it doesn't, I guess, mess up the ratio of what it is that you're trying to do. And last, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that was the use of the plastic container that I used to make the hypertufa pot. There were enough comments about how I am not a responsible person because I used a plastic container and I used the word disposable, and it's going to end up in a landfill. Well, it's not going to end up in a landfill. I called my friend at Keep Northern Illinois Beautiful, which is a recycling center, and asked her if I could recycle that plastic into the recycle bins down there at Keep Northern Illinois Beautiful. And the answer was yes. So it wasn't thrown into the garbage, into a landfill. It was actually recycled down there. Now here where I live, we have the privilege of having this center. And there are things that you can't put in the recycle bin at the curb, but they will take it down at the recycle center. Things like copper wire, Christmas lights, televisions, things like that you can't put at the curb, but they'll take it there. And everything that goes to their facility gets recycled and goes to a recycling center somewhere. So I just wanted to address the elephant in the room about the plastic container. I wish I could say that I was plastic free, but I'm not. My garden pots at the garden center come in plastic. I have plastic containers in my kitchen. Sometimes we use plastic forks at the garden center when we're having an event. I'd love to say that we're plastic free. We are trying to be as plastic free as we can. We've eliminated plastic bags at the store and we use paper bags, you know, so we're trying to be conscious of that. I don't know how anyone in the world that we live in today can be 100% plastic free, but we do our best and we try to use things that we can recycle. So that's all I'm going to say about that, and I'm going to move on. Ever since I did the she shed, people have been asking me if I will take them shopping with me when I go to look for the new pieces that I know I'm going to be adding to this she shed. And the answer is no. I probably will never do a shopping video. I don't know that I'm comfortable doing them, and I don't know that they're interesting enough to want to put you through watching them. If I find things that are really cool and I'm going to use them in the garden, like this piece right here that I just found, I will share that with you and how I'm going to use it if I think it's interesting enough to share. Otherwise, yeah, I don't think that that for me is something that you'll ever see. Our last question was about the cottage garden. People wanted to know how old it is. Well, this cottage garden is in its 3rd year. The first year that we put it in, it was 2023, and then we added to it in 2024, and we added again in 2025. So I kind of took my time doing this garden and let it evolve a little bit before I added more pieces to it. I am not done. There's still a little bit more that I want to add out here, and I'm loving everything in this garden. This is a great garden to be in early in the morning before the sun comes over the top of the shed, because that way's east. It's also a really nice garden to be in after 6 o'clock. And I work till 6 a lot of days. So coming out here in the evening, it's a nice, peaceful place to unwind because it's kind of private. We have Arctic fire dogwoods alongside me here. And I'll just turn that a little bit so you can see those right there. And now they have grown up big enough that this creates this nice private little area in here. I have yet to have a fire this year out here because it's been too hot. But soon fall will be here and we'll start having fires out here. Oh, it's just nice to come out here. It's peaceful. A lot of the trucks that you hear on the road in front of our house are gone for the day. The birds are still out. And in the morning when you're out here, the bird song, you can just sit here and listen to it. It's fabulous. So yeah, it's a really nice garden that I'm really loving how it's evolving. Well, that is a wrap for today's Garden Gab, you guys. I had so much fun chatting with you in the garden. I hope I answered a lot of your questions. Even though there weren't a lot of questions, I did more announcing than I did question answering, I think, this time. But because there were so many tours, I don't know that there was that many questions. Now, I am still looking for one garden to do a tour in. I'm still looking for that fall garden. I want to do a garden tour of somebody's garden in the fall, probably end of September, beginning of October, when everything is starting to wind down, but your garden still has a beauty all its own. The leaves are starting to change colors. Well, maybe not yet. The leaves probably don't change color until the middle of October where we live. But I'm in Northern Illinois, and I'm willing to travel up to 4 hours to come and visit a really cool garden. That would be 4 hours there, 2 hours to film, 4 hours back. That's a full 10-hour day, which is what I normally work anyways. So you have to be in Lower Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, Indiana, 4 hours of Rockford. So I'm at the tip of Illinois, like 15 miles from the Wisconsin border. I would love to come and tour a garden that's a fall garden. I just think that would be so awesome. So reach out if you guys have that garden right here to this email, and I will get in touch with you. Send a few photos of your garden with your email so I can kind of get a feel of what's going on in the garden. All right, so that's all I've got for today, you guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Stay tuned for Garden Gab at the end of the month. Send your pictures in and weigh in on the things that I talked about earlier. All right, I'm Michelle, and we will catch you in the next video. Bye, everyone.